My friends, I want to talk just today briefly from the heart about the gospel and the real power that is in the gospel of Jesus Christ that I think is lost so much in this day and age. But the gospel of Jesus Christ is life-changing. It's beyond anything, any philosophy or empty words that you read in this day and age that claim to set you free but really do so little. The gospel is the one true powerful thing. The gospel is the one true power in this world, even though it's disregarded by this world's philosophies. We're all broken in this life in various different ways. We've all been through things, pains, hurts, rejection. We've all done wrong. We've all made terrible choices and knowingly rebelled and done bad things to other people, and this guilt, this pain that comes from this rebellious stuff, this stuff that we've done wrong and we feel shame for, we carry this heavy weight in all of our lives that is such a heavy burden, because we know that we shouldn't have done something and we feel guilty, we feel shame for it because we've sinned, we've done wrong, we've hurt someone, we've been perverse and deceitful, and we've been sexually deviant. We've torn down other people behind their back. We've been two-faced. We've experienced trauma, abuse. These things are deep. These things are very, very deep in many people, and most people will not talk about them because they're so deep, and I know I can relate to that. There's things inside me which are deep, 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 way down. If we're honest and we shine a light deep in our hearts, we have some baggage. We have some baggage which we probably would never tell other people, never want to tell other people. And these things are incredibly painful, and sometimes when we talk about, even like, I don't know if you've researched narcissistic personality disorders and some of these different disorders, they seem to have at the very root of it just this real bitterness and this real baggage and burden, which is right at the core, so deep in our personalities that it causes some really evil, horrible things in our lives. And is there a solution? Is there an answer to these things that just seem so untouchable? And this is where the power of the gospel comes in. There is no philosophy and new age mantra and ritual that can touch anything at this level. The only solution to these things is truth, is the way out of this prison. The only solution to this poison of death is life, real life. And Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus Christ, the gospel of Jesus Christ, is the only way to deal with these things and to overcome and to be made new into a brand new creature. This is the power of the gospel. It is not just a philosophy. The gospel is life-changing, right to the very deepest core of our being. We are transformed. And why? How is this possible? Because with the gospel, we can never be good enough. This is the solution right here. We can never be good enough. There's nothing that we can do. The point of the gospel of Jesus Christ is that we're not good enough. That is the point. So, beginning by this, accepting this reality, then we come before God, knowing that we're not good enough, and the reason that Jesus Christ came to this earth and God sent his Son was that Jesus would live the perfect life, and then he would be punished as a sinner, even though he was perfect, for our sins, and then he would die and he would rise again on the third day for us. So starting with this, we approach God before the throne of grace, and we lay down everything, our heavy burden. We lay down the things that we've done wrong, the very deep things inside of our hearts that we keep hidden from everyone else. We finally open up our hearts before the Lord, before God, your creator, my creator, and we open up our hearts finally to things that we never thought we could ever be rid of, and ever lay down this heavy weight. We lay down at his throne, and we can be open. We need not have shame and fear, because those very things we lay down at this throne too. We lay down our shame, and we lay down all of those wrong things, those wrong sins. We finally confess to God and release them to him, knowing that this is what he says we can do. This is what he invites us to do, because we know that he sent his Son, and his only Son, the most precious Son of God, came to this earth, and God cast all of the judgment that was meant for me and you, that we should have had for these wrong things, onto Jesus, because he loves us, and Jesus took that away. And this is the real central core of how powerful the gospel is that it reaches right to the very core of our being. They talk about personality disorders and narcissism and all of these things that seem to come from this really deep, bitter root inside of people. This real poison that's just so deep in us, from this disease that's part of our sin. And we all have aspects of this disease in us. We're born with this, and it affects us. But the gospel transforms us. And so there's people out there that are constantly preaching, you've got to live up to this is the standard that you've got to be. And it really puts burdens and shackles onto people, into bondage. The gospel, the heart of the gospel, is that we can come before the Lord, lay our lives down before him just as we are. We can confess honestly to him and let him receive him, let him reach deep into our lives to forgive us for our sins. This is how our lives are so drastically effective, knowing that we are completely undeserving, but knowing that his grace covers everything, and there is no one who is too bad. There is nothing that you have done which makes you beyond his love and his grace. His grace covers all sins, every sin. You can be forgiven. If I can be forgiven, there are so many awful things that I've done in my life, so many awful ways that I've messed up. There is just no way that I'm anywhere near good enough. I am just done rotten things in my life. But God, at the throne of grace, will receive us, and his burden is light. His burden is light. You can be honest with him. You can be completely honest with him. He knows everything anyway. And all he wants us, what he wants us to do is to be honest with him and to confess and be open, not to hide away, not to run away, not to lie, and pretend, put on a performance. It's nothing to do with that. Just to be honest and lay our lives down at the throne of grace.